Hello friends, welcome to all of you Shiksha 360 classes. So basically certificate course exams conducted by the IABF, different exams. So today we have to discuss the ethics in banking, chapter number 3, part 1. So one thing I will tell you that is basically in the ethics in banking, you will get most of the examination basically from first 4 to 5 chapters, clear? And totally theory based question they will ask in the examination, like on the values. Clear, you will get 5 to 6 questions on just on the basis of the values also. Clear. So now let's start our discussion, that is chapter number 3, part 1. In this session, we have to discuss regarding the different theories. So banking and normative ethics in the banking. Let's start. So this unit throws light on the various ethical theories. It aims to develop understanding of the virtue ethics, utilitarian utilitarianism, rights, and justice. One thing I will tell you, 2 to 3 questions just you will get from the virtue ethics, which we have to cover in our session now. Okay, that's why I will take up session on those topics that definitely benefit you in the examination. So ethical theories. So first point here, that is virtue ethics, that is theory of ethics. Second one, that is utilitarianism. Third one, that is rights theory. Fourth one, justice theory. Fifth one, pluralism theory. Sixth one, duty ethics. Seventh one, deontological theory. So now let's discuss the first one, that is the virtue ethics. What is the meaning of that? So the root of the virtue theory lies in the work of great philosophers like Plato and Aristotle. Okay, this is our YouTube channel. For all video, you can subscribe that. So the root of the virtue theory basically it is lies in the work of great philosophers like Plato and Aristotle. So what is the approach in this theory? The approach to ethics in which human nature is characterized by the objective of ethical thinking that is to be called as the virtue ethics. Clear? So how the human nature it is characterized by this theory, that is the approach to ethics in which human nature is characterized. Clear, the approach to ethics in which human nature is characterized by the objective of ethical thinking. Clear, by what? By the objective of ethical thinking that is to be called as the virtue ethics. Clear, that is to be called here as the virtue ethics. So the most vital objective, clear or important objective for ethical thinking, it is being good. Directly straightforward, they will ask this type of question, that is, which is the most important objective for the ethical thinking, that is, it is being good here. So virtue ethics. Further, that is, the virtue ethic, it is also categorized as teleological theory, which is governed by the ultimate objective to be achieved and not by the rules. Okay. So virtue ethics, basically, how it is to be categorized as a teleological theory, which is governed. What is the main objective? That is how it is governed. That is main objective. It is the to be achieved. Clear, which is governed by the ultimate objective to be achieved and not by the rule. Clear. So which is governed by the ultimate objective. Clear, which is governed by the ultimate objective to be achieved and not by the rules. Clear, and not by the rules. Clear. So that is considered as the virtue ethics. So which is governed by the ultimate objective to be achieved and not by the rules. Next one. So for certificate courses, basically presently we are taking session on 2 certificate courses, ethics in banking and foreign exchange facilities for individuals. Interested students can join for the December-January examination. So basically it will be conducted in 2 months, July, August and December, January. So interested students can join. After 6 months, these will be conducted and offline. So virtue theory here, it is a character-based theory. So virtue theory, it is what type of theory? That is, it is a character-based theory that looks for the role played by the one's character in the process of decision making and how that decision will affect the character of that particular individual. Clear? So virtue theory, basically it is what type of theory? That it is a character-based theory that looks for the role played by the one character. Clear? Played by the one's character in the process of designing or making and how that decision will affect the character of that particular individual. Clear? And how that decision will affect the character of that particular individual. So virtue ethics primarily emphasizes on the role of one's character and the virtue that one's character personifies for determination or evaluation of the ethical behavior. Okay. So virtue ethics basically primarily emphasizes on the role of one's character and virtue that one's character personifies for the determination or evaluation of the ethical behavior. Clear? That is, it totally focus on the ethical behavior. So can anyone tell what is the meaning of the word ethics here? We are discussing the words at every place, that is ethics. Ethics simply stands for the word concept of ethics. It is what that concept of moral right or wrong, or we can say that concept of or and moral good and bad, that is to be considered under the ethics. That is concept of moral right or wrong and the moral good and bad here. This is the concept of the ethics or definition of the word ethics to be here. Okay. So virtue ethics, that is primarily emphasizes on the role of one's character and the virtue that one character personifies for determination or evaluation of the ethical behavior. Virtue ethics theory plays emphasis on being good or right rather than doing good or right. Clear? Very, very important. That is basically on what thing it will focus is, that is virtue theory, ethics theory places emphasis on that is being good or right rather than being doing good or right. Clear? That is, we have to behave good or right. Rather, we have to good doing and right for the others. Clear? So it will more focus on the being good and right. So in virtue ethics further, that is in the virtue ethics, morality sprouts from the identity and or character of the individual rather than being a response of the actions or consequences of the individual. Clear? So under the virtue ethics, basically from where the morality arises, basically arise from the identity and the characteristic of the individual, rather than basically how we are behaving or rather than being a response of the actions or consequences of the individual. So therefore, possessing these virtues is what makes one moral, and one's action, it is a merry reflection of the one's inner morality. Clear? So therefore, possessing these virtues is what makes one moral, and one's action, clear, and one's action is a merry reflection of one's inner morality. Clear? And one's action, it is a merry reflection of the one's inner morality. Now further, the how the virtues are established and developed. This question they have already asked from the last 2 to 3 exams. Clear? So how the virtues are established and can be developed. Clear? So virtues are established and developed on the basis of, first can be virtue can be acquired. Second one, virtue by the morals. Clear? So how virtue can be acquired? It is called the intellectual virtue or wisdom. Clear? It is called the intellectual virtue or wisdom. It is that quality of mind and character that promotes intellectual flourishing and critical thinking based on the curiosity. It can also be acquired by habit. Okay. So virtue can be acquired. It is called the intellectual virtue or wisdom. It is called the intellectual virtue or wisdom. It is that quality of mind. Clear? It is basically that quality of mind and character that promotes intellectual flourishing and critical thinking. Clear? So it is that quality of mind and character that promotes intellectual flourishing and critical thinking based on the curiosity. So it can also acquired by habit. Okay, so how virtue can be acquired? That is, it is the intellectual virtue or the wisdom. It is the quality of the mind and the character that promotes intellectual flourishing and critical thinking based on the curiosity. Curiosity basically means that the ability of any person to learn about something. So it can also be acquired by habit. Clear? So virtue, how can be acquired? It can acquired by habit. Then virtue by morals. Virtue by moral basically means this was explained by Aristotle as traits of an individual character, like from their family members, like we can say that. So this was explained by Aristotle as traits of an individual character. So it can be an individual passion to be good and perform good actions. Clear? So it can be an individual passion to be good and perform the good actions. Clear? To be good and perform the good actions to be here. That is virtue by the morals. So two things we have covered here. That is virtue. How can basically virtue are established and developed on the basis of virtue can be acquired and virtue by morals. So what are the components of the virtue? Clear. This will also, they will ask, like, what are the components? Like 5 to 6, they will give which one it is correct one, which one it is not, like A, B, C, D. So you have to check out that. So components of the virtue. First one, that is the habit. So virtue has to be developed, or virtue can be acquired, like here we have discussed in the previous point. So virtue have to be developed as they cannot be acquired at once. Okay, so virtue have to be developed over the time as they can be not be acquired at once. So thus virtue becomes habit. They are more reliable and consistent. Let's so virtues become habit as they are become more reliable and consistent. So once virtues become habit and practice as a daily routine, so they are strongly embedded in the one's character. So once virtue becomes habit and practiced as a daily routine, so they can be or strongly embedded in the one's character. So any doubt, any query regarding that? So sometimes basically one student doubts, sir, what is the meaning of virtue in simple language? Virtue, we can say that it is a good quality. Or we can say that virtue, it is a good quality or a habit here. Or in simple language, we can say that it is a quality of, this is due, quality of being morally good. Okay, so now next one, that is thoughtfulness to reasons. Thoughtfulness to reason. This is also second component of the virtue. So virtue implicates evoking certain matters as practical reason, which will motivate people and also steer their actions. Okay. So virtue implications evoking certain matters as for the practical reason, which will motivate the people. Clear? Which will motivate the people and also steer their actions. For instance, seeking someone's vulnerability as a reason to help him or her. Clear? Seeking someone vulnerability to as a reason to help him or her and not taking his or her advantage, or evoking value of truth as a reason to conduct business honestly. Clear? That is thoughtful. Thoughtfulness to reasons. Okay. So virtue implication implicates evoking certain matters as a practical reason which will motivate the people and also steer their actions. For instance, seeking someone or seeing someone's vulnerability as a reason to help him or her and not taking his or her advantage as evoking of truth as a reason. Clear? As evoking of truth as a reason to conduct the business honestly. Clear? To conduct the business honestly. Third one here, that is the emotions and attitude. Clear? Third point here, which we have to discuss, that is the emotions and attitude. So virtue also comprises of the sentiments associated with the certain functions performed. Okay. So virtues also comprises of the sentiments associated with the certain actions performed. Stay like you feel happy to perform a virtuous deed, or you are attracted to other virtuous people. So the malicious behavior of your friends and family makes you sad. So this is contrary to the Kant's agreement on virtue ethics, which says that. So what the Kant agreement says that on the virtue ethics? We say that it is the individual's desire to do the right thing that tend to make someone more virtuous. Okay. So it depends upon the individual to individual. So emotional attitude, that is virtues, also comprises of the sentiments associated with the certain actions performed. Like you feel happy to perform a virtuous deed, or you are attracted to the other virtuous people. So this malicious behavior of your friends and family makes you sad. So here one word comes out, that is, what is the meaning of the word malicious behavior? So can anyone tell what is the meaning of the word malicious here? That is, malicious basically comes to be here a desire to cause harm to someone. Okay. So you feel happy to perform a virtuous deed, or you are attracted to other virtuous people. So this, the malicious behavior of your friends and family makes you sad. Malicious behavior, that is desire to cause harm to the someone. So this is contrary to the Kant's agreement on the virtue ethics, which says that it is the individual desire. Clear? Basically, what it says that, which says that it is the individual desire to do the right thing that tend to make someone more virtuous. Clear? That tend to make someone more virtuous. Next one, that is natural inclination to act well. So first one, that is the habit. Second one, that is the thoughtfulness to reasons. Third one, that is the emotion and attitude. Fourth one, that is the natural inclination to act well. So to a virtuous people, virtuous actions come naturally. Rather, virtue is incorporated in the one's character and it comes naturally. So thus there is no need to battle contrary desires. So it is spontaneous expression of one's innermost desires. Clear? So what is that? It is the spontaneous desires of one's innermost, spontaneous expression of the one's innermost desires. So all of you are able to understand regarding the components of the virtue. Next one, that is very, very important. This is also they have asked in the examination. Phronesis. Phronesis basically in simple language, we can say that practical wisdom. Practical wisdom. So for phronesis, it is more specifically a type of wisdom relevant to the practical things. Clear? That will be relevant to the practical things. So it is an individual ability to evaluate the situation correctly, which will be sportive in making choices wisely, and it also encourages the practical virtue. Okay, so it is an individual ability to evaluate the situation correctly, which will be sportive in making the choices wisely, and it also encourages practical virtue. Further, that is, wisdom cannot be inherited or passed on as customs. Customs, basically, we can say that like in simple language or in Hindi, riti rivaj. So wisdom cannot be inherited or passed on as customs, or we can say that like our culture from one generation to another. It cannot be as passed. So it requires knowledge and life experience. Further, that is, it helps solve conflicts between the virtue or the moral rules. It also, it not only supplements mere natural virtue, it perfects the spontaneous components. Clear? So it only supplements mere natural virtue. It perfects on the spontaneous components. Clear? It perfects the spontaneous component to be here. Then that is to be phronesis, that is practical things. So what are the limitations of the virtues? Limitation, that is difficulty in establishing the nature of virtues, mainly because different individuals, culture, and societies have different opinions. Clear? So difficulty in establishing the nature of virtue, mainly why? Because different individuals, cultures, and societies. Clear? Because different individuals, culture, and societies have different opinions. Second one, that is the virtue ethics is considered as the self-centered, as it is the main concern, as its main concern is the agent's own character. Clear? So difficulty in establishing the nature of virtues mainly because different individuals, cultures, and societies have different opinions. The virtue ethics, it is considered as self-centered, as it is the main concern is the agent's own character, while morality should be concerned about how our actions can affect others. Clear? So while morality should be concerned about how our actions can affect the others. So these are some of the limitations of the virtues to be here. So next one, that is virtue ethics in the business. So the pluralism of virtue gives the business manager an affirmative character, that is positive character, and the institute the very best of integrity of character. So the virtue ethics perspective to the business can be summed up as follow, that is individual virtue and integrity count, but good corporate ethics programs encourage the individual virtue and integrity. Clear? If the organization behavior is good, so it will definitely benefit to all the individuals and create positive impact in them. So by the employee's role in the organization, these virtues associated with the appropriate conduct form a good person. Clear? So by the employee's role in the organization, these virtues associated with the appropriate conduct form a good person. Next one, that is the ultimate objective is the fulfillment of demands of the society. Clear? What is the ultimate objective? The ultimate objective, it is the fulfillment of demands of the society along with the good public good and to be rewarded in the one's career. Clear? So the ultimate objective, it is fulfillment of the demands of the society along with the public good and to be rewarded in the one's career. Fourth one, that is the well-being of the community coupled. Clear? The well-being of the community coupled with the individual fineness because of the social convenience and the public spirit of every individual. Clear? So the well-being of the community coupled with the individual fineness because of the social cognizance and public spirit of the every individual. Clear? And public spirit of the individual, every individual. So now we have to one question. So which of the following statement it is not true about the virtue? Clear? Which of the following statement it is not true about the virtue? First one, that is virtue can be acquired. Second one, virtue can be habits. Third one, virtue develops through the moral. And fourth one, that is virtue is by birth. Clear? Virtue, it is by birth. So please tell fast, what will be the correct answer? Virtue can be acquired? Yes, it can be acquired. Virtue can be habits? Yes. Virtue develops through the moral? Yes. Virtue, it is by birth? No, it is not true here. Okay, so option number D will be the answer. Which of the following statement it is not true about the virtue? Option number D. If I am wrong at any place, you can also tell in the comments. Okay. So in this session, we have to discuss up to this much point. In the next session, we have to start the unilateralism. From that also, they will ask question, that is what are the types of the unilateralism. Clear? Every year they have asked question on these types. So hope whatever we have discussed regarding the virtue theories, you are able to understand. I request to all of you kindly go through these sessions at least 2 times. Clear? If you have sufficient time. So definitely so that you are able to remember the points at the time in the examination. Okay. So thanks to all of you for joining this discussion.